Back your shoulders. Let's look at your shoulders here. About the same. Both of you guys have left elevated shoulders. Mm-hmm. 1 second. Yeah, here we go. Keep that chin up for me. There you go. And then relax. There you go. Very nice.
That felt good.
Good. Her father, my future potential, we got to, first impressions here a little bit. He's holding this animal like it's a cat, like it's a baby. Its tail is wrapping around behind him. It's a bony, skeleton-y looking tail. He turns towards me and it's a possum. It's a full-grown possum, teeth, claws. I'm like, ooh. Again, father-in-law. What am I going to do? Like, I'm trying to hold it together inside. I'm like, interesting. That's not a cat. So he's like, here, do you want a whole huckleberry?
Huckleberry.
Yeah, of course his name's Huckleberry. So. Your range of motion is connected with the position, even breathing. Another easy one is, put your head forward and try to bring your arms up. Good. Try to bring your arms up. Right?
Doing it?
You think you can't, right? Now bring your head back. Bring your head back. Now bring your arms up. Right? So the position of your head to shoulders affects your shoulders range of motion. I can't even lift my arm up more than... That's it. I can't.
I just had the hump in the back of my neck.
When did you first start noticing that?
Probably in the last 2 years.
Okay. Is anything bothering you neck-wise, shoulder-wise, any pain?
I sit at a desk all day, so and I work 12-hour shifts 5 days a week, so.
A lot of sitting, a lot of desk. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you said heartburn also? How often do you have that?
All the time. Like 9 times out of 10, I have heartburn if I eat.
Okay. Go ahead and turn your left. Let me see your range of motion. Turn your left. Just turn your head. Yeah, there you go. All right, turn your head right. Just look at it. Wow. A lot easier turning your head right. Go ahead. Just so you can see that. Go ahead and turn your head left. A little more restricted that way. I'm not sure if you can notice. And then turning the head right was super easy. Okay. And then go ahead and look up at the ceiling. I just want to see. Okay. And then there we go. Just look straight forward. Okay. All right. We're dealing with a little bit of head forward. And then it's sort of like the more forward your head goes, the more this hump in the upper back grows. So it's connected. We call it coupled motion. It's not independent. This is sort of the counter coup. When the head goes forward, this has to rise up. And so in order to reduce this, we have to retract the head back. Your work encompasses a lot of, being forward, and maybe you've already done stuff like elevating your monitor or, trying to, at this point, then we're really just, we have to counter stretch you. So we have to actually loosen you up, get all the parts of your back working, and then I'm going to see how easy or difficult it is to arch back. And that's how, the same way we lost our posture by time sitting forward, is how we're going to restore it by time spending arching back. And it's really the ligaments on the front part of the spine that we've never stretched because, we've never really, we've never really done that. It's not, unless we're in gymnastics, or it's not really required through most of our life, but we're really good at, bending forward. So whenever our thigh comes closer to our chest, we call that flexion. So this is supposed to be 180 degrees, and making it, obtuse, more than 180 is extension. Whenever we bring our thigh up and this becomes 90 degrees, this is called flexion. So most of our life is, cars or driving, and even though we're like, well, I have good posture, doesn't really matter, you're still flexed.
Right.
Because the thigh is elevated, this lumbar curve goes straighter than it should be, which then typically rounds the upper back up, the head goes forward. Has anybody ever explained what the clicking sounds are, or?
Relief.
Relief, I like it.
That's how I get it.
It's little air bubbles. So whenever two joints come together, there's a capsule, there's a fluid capsule. And so that fluid capsule has little air bubbles from our bloodstream. Carbon dioxide diffuses into that capsule. And then when you move the joint, those air bubbles release and makes a sound. That reduces the pressure in the joint. That's why I get relief, and there's endorphins that are released when you do that. But the main point is not just to see how many pops I get on your spine as much as it feels good. The goal is to loosen your spine and make your spine limber so that we can stretch. You see your back, is supposed to be soft, limber. It shouldn't feel rigid.
Right.
That makes sense. So if this part of our back is rigid, when we bend, we don't get to choose where our back bends. It'll just bend too much down here. When you bend forward, so sort of put your hand on your thigh. It's hard to do with your arm, but as you bend forward, your hamstrings get tighter. Otherwise, you fall over, right? So a lot of hamstring tightness, people will say, oh, my hamstrings are really tight. That's connected with posture, right? The more weight that's forward on our toes because of the amount of hours that we spend sitting. When we come upright, we don't come up back to our home position. We stay a little bit forward.
Same position, like constantly, and then answering the phone and holding it, and it hurts my neck, and yeah. I mean, it's like constant.
Earpiece, headphones.
I started to do that after about 4 years.
There's no end to neck pain if you do this thing.
It's a constant reminder. When I answer the phone, I'm like, oh, and I put the earpiece in.
About the same. Both of you guys have left elevated shoulders. 1 second. Heads are over to the right. There we go. Hips are pretty level. Pretty level. Very, very slightly left high hip, but I'd really say it's mainly level. Take a deep breath in for me. And then head back for me. Let all the air out. Let it go. I got you. Deep breath in. Here we go. Head back. Let it go. Exhale. Deep breath in. One more. Exhale. Yeah, way too tight in there. I got about 2 bones to move. And not just that only 2 bones clicked, it felt hard. And I'm glad that you're here today. We're going to go through there and try to, I call it like coercion. We're going to go use my elbow and some soft tissue work to make that move a little better. They all have been stiff for too long.
I tried going to Stretch Lab for like 3-4 months, and I didn't get much of it.
The difficulty with that is if I can't move it for you, it ain't going to move for you in a stretch class.
Okay.
So, and actually the danger is if this is all stiff and you try to stretch, you end up hurting the other parts that are actually working, right? So the part of your back that's stiff isn't going to move. It's not going to get hurt, but the surrounding areas have a high chance of being overstressed. So we got to be careful even with stretching when your back is that tight. Sometimes people bring in their stretches that they're given from a therapist, and almost all of them pull your knee to your chest, bend down, touch your toes. Does that make sense? And like,
Yeah.
Did any of these stretches involve bending back? Right? I mean, maybe if you go back in your mind and think about it, but I'm saying that sometimes a lot of them, and this has a lot to do, give me 1 second, just keep relaxing. A lot of the sensation.
you're like, I'm just gonna lay here like a plank.
A lot of the sensation on our spine, a lot of the sensation is on the back side. The discs are non-sensitive here on the front, and when these discs get injured, we actually don't feel it until the disc hits the nerve. Hands on your belly, perfect. There we go. Take a deep breath in for me. Exhale and twist. There we go, I got you. Left side for me, okay. Let it go, exhale, twist. Face up for me. Just trying to loosen up the top areas. Yeah, big bump right here feel this large knot here on the right. And then it's all sunken in on the left. This is why that head was tilted. It's really a favoritism to tilt your head left, and there we go. I got you. Here we go, chin up for me. There you go. There you go. Keep that chin up for me. There you go, and then relax. There you go, very nice.
That felt good.
You're good, you're good. Loosen the area up a little bit. I wanted to get, why didn't you massage me first, Ed? Why did you just adjust me without massaging me? Part of this is exam and treatment at the same time. I'm seeing who's working cold, right? I wanted to get an assessment of your spine without any coercion, right? Just like a car mechanic, just putting the key in and turning it and see what happens, and gives me an idea of how your spine has been moving. I know you sat a lot driving here, but all the parts of your back should be operating. It's like one of those undercover boss. I just barge into the business and everybody should be, at their stations working, not half of them sleeping. And so that's kind of the way I look at the spine. Yeah, your head doesn't want to tilt this way very much. All right. You might notice even sinus issues or ear issues more on one side.
I just got an earache in this ear like last week. I just got over it.
And psychic, how do you know that? Because this big knot in your neck, it's the drain lines that drain your sinuses, your ear, all go down the right side of your neck. And so the tighter the musculature is on one side, the muscles actually crimp or restrict the flow of the lymphatic tubes. The lymph in your body doesn't have any heart like the vascular system in your body has a heart that pumps your arteries and veins. The lymph is pumped by joint motion, muscle contraction, relaxation. So when we have a life of not necessarily moving a lot, most of my life Ed is sitting, or posture that's where the muscles are tight, then nothing really flows, and then that's when you get a sinus infection or ear infection. What do you guys like to do for fun? What's your guys' hobbies?
Massage each other.
Massage each other. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we can get knots out or anything.
Okay.
She did buy this like wonderful massager, and it's like
Thermogun.
it's
Okay.
amazing.
The Theragun or
Oh, yeah.
the Theragun? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's good
Oh,
stuff.
we
Yeah.
like the Theragun. It's-
Yeah.
Good. That means you guys
It's
are.
great.
That gives me a good idea that you guys are used to some punishment.
Oh yeah, we do.
Because it's not a mild device. So that's good.
Yep, we do that for fun. No, we like to go camping and
Okay.
kayaking. Her first experience was recently,
Okay.
and that
It
was
was
so
horrible.
funny.
She took me upstream. It was
In the
horrible.
heat, it was so hot.
My wife's more of a kayaker than I am.
I like it. I like the springs.
I like the snacks that we bring.
Yeah.
That's really why I do it.
Oh my-
I'm meeting her parents for the
Oh, you're
first
meeting
time,
them.
pretty
Okay,
much.
right, okay.
Her father, my future potential, we got it, first impressions here a little bit. He's holding this animal like it's a cat, like it's a baby. Its tail is wrapping around behind him. It's a bony, skeleton-y looking tail. There's no hair on it. So he turns towards me, and it's a possum. It's a full-grown possum, teeth, claws. I'm like, ooh, again, father-in-law. What am I gonna do? Like, trying to hold it together inside. I'm like, interesting. That's not a cat. That's a possum. That should be out in the tree outside, right? Sometimes I see them by the side of the road, like. So he's like, here, do you want to hold Huckleberry? Yeah, of course his name's Huckleberry. So I'm like, so he puts him on my chest. He's putting the possum. Oh, I'm like, oh.
Kitty.
Hi, Huckleberry. Very nice, Huckleberry. Can somebody take Huckleberry, please? Don't. I think Huckleberry's
Attached to its owner.
he's clawing at me. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's not feeling secure because I'm not feeling secure. We got to get him out of here. My first instinct was like, just chuck him. I was like, that's what I wanted to do inside, was just throw it.
Oh my God.
And I'm just trying to save face because everybody else is acting like I'm the emperor's new clothing. Like everybody else is like totally kosher with this. And I'm like, why am I the weird one here? Is this not normal? You have a possum living in your living room. That's too far.
The sad part is though, and you guys can learn something about this, is when the mom gets hit on the side of the road, the babies are often alive.
Yes.
And you see little babies
Right.
like living
So
by
it's
the mom.
compassion
So
there,
my
very
mom did that
compassionate.
and she saved them and
Yes.
then she nursed them back to health. And there's people who do this. She became like a rehabber.
Right there. I feel that guy right there is what we're trying to loosen up. This is part of even why that hump is in your upper back, is that this is so tight up here that your lower neck's overworking. When the lower neck overworks combined with your posture, the head goes forward. That's what then creates the hump. How does that feel? You okay?
I'm fine.
Okay. Please let me know if I'm going too hard. Back off it! All right. Laughs in the name. MC Laughlin. There's going to be some laughing around here, okay? Know what you're getting into. Right there. So you guys have animals? You guys have pets?
We do.
Okay.
I have 3 Persian cats.
Okay, cats and you have
I have 2 Doberman dogs.
dog. Okay, and cats and dog. Part of the treatment is actually to survive being face down on this table, in terms of this table holds you back. It holds your head back. It doesn't let you, push your head forward. So, even just being face down on this table actually is part of the stretching. So now we're going to loosen you up and. All right. Yeah, right here we got to get this all. Big knot right there.
I feel that.
Yeah. All right. It's just a generalized tightness. The whole thoracic cage here just didn't have Dr. Bo, my father's your father, working on you. And, you know, when injuries happen or even just work, your back just slowly gets tighter and tighter, stiffer and stiffer. And so we have to remind this part of your back to be a part of the team. This right here, just restriction right here needs to be unlocked. How often do you do the Theragun? How often? A couple times a week, or
About once a week, really.
once a week? Okay. Okay. That's good. There we go. Yeah, for focus, I would try to focus on all the stiff areas. So like right here, you'll see me keep going back to the same spots because that's where the most. Right there is the tightest part of your middle back. That's the most bang for your buck kind of idea. Your time.
Okay.
Right there be where you want to focus the Theragun. And then obviously right on the side of this guy here, right there. Just open it.
Doing better.
I was like, is that a balloon running out? I didn't see what it was.
The car did it all.
It's all good. Right there. Actually, the right is actually more kind of bumpy.
So is it just like you and your sister, the shop too?
My sister, my brother is a chiropractor. He just graduated, and then my dad, he still works.
Your dad must be proud.
3 for 3, right? I know. I encourage all my kids.
Good.
Uh-huh.
We need to get together with Brenda again, but
Well,
we've just
she's-
all been so busy.
She's in Orlando, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's-
She's got 4 kids. I got 4 kids. It's,
I didn't know that one.
mm-hmm.
It's crazy on how people can like just watch the YouTube videos and pick up little stories and you know the whole damn story.
Mm-hmm. It's a good thing you come here right after your kayaking. Oh, my shoulders! Ah.
I did mow the yard yesterday. I feel like my biceps got bigger.
Ooh, yeah. Push arms.
I mean, it was definitely a push.
Yeah.
I just want to push me in the house afterwards. What do y'all like to do for fun?
Sometimes when our kids go to bed, we just stare off into space for a good hour. You know, it's a really good time. We hide in the bathroom from our kids. I'm watching hand side. I look at her hands and her feet. That's usually where people can't hide it. You start gripping my hand. Start gripping my hand rests. I'm like, okay, back off a little bit.
I'm fine, I'm fine.
It's just highly likely you're just going to bend where your spine's loose and not bending very well where it's stiff. And so it's like, well, I thought stretching is good for me. Well, not yet. You know, it can be a little dangerous. If we just use adjustments, it takes longer than if we massage, gua sha. It speeds up or expedites this time to get your spine limber. The goal is to get your spine limber. You know, I wish I could give a set amount of, it's like a data points on a graph. The more I treat you, the more I'd be able to give you an idea of how long it takes. Your age is, how old are you?
35, I'll be 36 tomorrow.
5, and you've, like I said, asking questions like, have you had deep tissue work before? Have you been adjusted before? Here's some those. Not really yet. Okay, so it takes longer. Does that make sense? If you say, oh yeah, I get adjusted once a month my whole life. Okay, well, we can get this done in 3 months. Does that make sense? It depends on how much
Right.
prep work I have to do to make, and I learn more about you actually on your second visit, right? Because I get to see, it's like I run a test and then I get the results. I'll know more about how your spine works in a second when I adjust you again at the end, how much it changes after I spend 30 minutes massaging you and gua shawing you, if it responds and then some more vertebrae move, or no, it's still reluctant, and then we gotta just, it's like elbow grease on a stain in carpet. You gotta sit here and scrub it until it comes out. Like, how many passes with a carpet cleaner do we need to make? It's the answer, I don't know. Keep making passes until it comes up clear, right? There shouldn't be any. Interesting how this birthmark's even changing color.
Is it?
It's getting like almost raised up a little bit, purple. Is
Right
it-
here on this,
Yeah.
It's black.
like this part, can your sister feel it? Like this part didn't change, but run your finger over that, feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Here it's all, like there's scar in there too.
It
There's
looks like
level.
capillaries.
We're flushing it, but I just say it's interesting.
Maybe there's like that's where.
Well, that's what it is. I mean, the birthmark is when you were growing, there was the capillaries burst, and that's what stained the skin, and
Oh.
that's what a birthmark is. But so it has to do with the vascular system in the first place. So curve is kind of a currency. As we put more curve into your neck, it's going to take it out of this. So to reduce this, we have to induce more curve into your neck, and that's part of even when I had you face down, I want you to try to work on letting your chin go up, because the more curve we put here, to get the idea, we're going to take it out of here. And that's the transition, along with trying to figure out your work and limit the amount of time your chin is tucked, or even just rounding forward. So the same thing happened here. The more curve you lose from here, it'll go up to here also. So your lordosis curves, your kind of front curves, when those go straighter, that curve either goes into a hump or even a laterality. It can go to a scoliosis or a lateral curvature. But it's just a movement of the curve that you're supposed to have. Just leave me here for another hour, yes. I'm starting to read her a little bit.
I'm over here drooling.
I'm starting to read her. I would try to leave this alone if you can. Don't be going a long period of time on the lower back. You can work this upper back right up here, kind of from here. Leave the lower neck alone, upper back to the middle back.
Okay.
And then the hips also, you can work along the crest of the ilium and the glute. But specifically leave the lower back alone. Leave this tattoo. Leave that tattoo alone.
Okay, got it.
Don't. Let's not do it on the most. The most surgically operated on part of the spine is down here, and so it's not further stress or inflame or motion in an area that's already hypermobile. Let's work on restoring mobility to the stiff areas first. There we go, good. A little more. Okay, all right. That felt lovely, Ed, I know. Gotta start stretching you this way. This is where you get Theragun kind of right on this SI joint, keeping this area.
What does that do?
Well, it's the joint
Are you
below.
still there?
Okay, too much?
She moved. I saw her move.
I found a spot. I flinched spot. All right. So this is,
Oh, my tailbone.
oh my. Well, you gotta clean that out. Do you,
What
you
is
don't,
that?
you don't Theragun this area, I guess I take it?
She said, "What is that?"
What
Yeah,
is that?
That's
It's called your
the-
SI joint. So there's a joint there between your sacrum and your ilium. Do you ever Theragun down here? No?
No.
Yeah, well,
Never.
it's time to start. We're gonna just the side of the SI joint. That's partly why it's sore. Is just nobody's gone in here and clean this joint. So the more this joint's moving, the more stress we take off the lower back. So above and below are the key to, when we sit, this joint becomes locked. That's partly why this is so,
That's at the top.
right, it doesn't want to move. And oh my gosh, Ed, that hurts so bad. Okay, well, start.
I didn't know it was there.
Didn't even know it existed. Sorry. I can tell you that you've done it up here, that's why it's not so difficult. You're used to having it here. So I was working on this right side. Right there. And the side of this right here. We're just trying to use this to restore some mobility to these tight joints that just life doesn't require these joints to move. And so you don't use it, you lose it. Oh no, not the glutes. Oh no. Right there. Get two to this end. That's the top of the joint right there. As I was saying earlier, when you're standing and these muscles are tighter than they're supposed to be because of the posture, that's part of why even the glutes are contracted, the hamstrings are contracted. That's why there's soreness in here. It just builds up from the posture that you create when you're sitting for long periods of time. Ta-da! Relax, I got you. Wow. A lot of stiffness in these joints down here. Whew. Okay, all right, got your leg, relax your leg. There we go. Very good, okay.
I ain't never had that crack.
No, okie dokie. Took my toe off. I got you, relax your leg there. Okay, good. There we go. Go ahead and tilt your head to the right a little bit for me. Tilt right. There we go.
That's crazy.
All right. There we go. Tilt your head to the right for me. Okay, just a little bit. There we go. Okay, good. Okay. I'm not gonna be mad at it. Not making her mad at me. All right, I got you. Go ahead and tilt left a little bit. There we go, good. And go ahead and tilt left. Nothing there. Okay.
What does that do?
So partly, remember how we were talking about that ear drainage? All the lymphatic tubules start, I don't know, at the bridge of the nose here. They go across the face, above the ear, and then down the neck. So restriction, I think primarily in your case, is your neck. But there can be restrictions behind the ear also, just adhesions, the area gets kind of tightened up and things don't drain properly back there. Bring knees bent, arms up. There we go, head back. There we go. Put it right on that upper part of that hump. And we're gonna press that in. We're gonna do two things. We're gonna work on the neck curve in a minute, but we're gonna start with working on the upper back thoracic, pushing that in. And then even when you're driving in your car, this can kind of go anywhere in your whole thoracic cage to reduce the amount of time that we're spending round and forward and that will reduce the amount of forward head posture and the loss of curve in the other areas. Now there's no, the idea of the thoracic down roll is that it's thin enough to get between your shoulder blades, right? So there's a lumbar device that's too broad, and the shoulder blades prevent pressure on the spine, so they had to take it and cut it in half. And does that make sense? To get in between the shoulder blades, to get pressure on your vertebrae without the shoulder blades absorbing some of the pressure. So it's a little harder to teeter on, but it's supposed to be thin. It's going to feel a little awkward because it's trying to get in between the shoulder blades. Below the shoulder blades, this device is a little more comfortable because it's wider and it's meant for the lumbar region or below the shoulder blades down. So they found that it takes about 20 minutes to begin the process of changing someone's posture. So that's not to say that 5 minutes isn't beneficial, but you're never going to see a change in how you're standing until you start to get close to 20 minutes of time in a position like this. Now, Ed, it's too painful, I can't handle it. That's where the answers to your question earlier of how often do I need to get seen? Well, if you can handle it and it's actually effective, then start stretching and you'll see change. And I can't do it, it hurts too bad, I don't want right, that's when I would say you need to be adjusted more, massaged more, get your spine clean, meaning not sore, not tender, so that we can lay on the device and it just be, oh, not that bad. Head back, there you go, I got you. There you go, get the idea. This is leg straight for me on this one, same thing, there we go. There you go, good, yeah, just relax, and this is just same thing for the neck. We're trying to remind your spine how to be curved. You know, when I work on your neck, even when you were face down, like your default is your chin wants to be down. Like I was like let your chin go up. Like, it doesn't. It feels like a foreign position. This isn't as comfortable doing this as it is to look down because of the frequency of which you do it. So the more you do something, the more it feels normal. I don't do this very often, so therefore it's not easy for me to do. And it all goes to that disc that I talked about on that spine. The disc doesn't have any feeling, yet it defines the long-term health of your body. So that non-sensitive piece of cartilage, I'm sure you've heard of disc herniations and disc bulges. Why are they so prevalent? It's because we can't feel them, and we only feel them when they're already destroyed. So part of what laying on the dental does is it helps to take stress off the disc, nourishes the disc, but it doesn't have any feeling. So it's like, okay, it's hard to connect with that versus the structures that have feeling, the joints. This hurts at it's sore. You can feel the back side of the spine because the nerve endings are heavy in the joints in your spine. So it can feel, ow, it hurts to do this, yet I'm rehabilitating a structure that doesn't have any feeling. It's confusing because they don't really tell us something's wrong, kind of like the enamel on your teeth or your cavity. Until the cavity hits the nerve root, that's when you finally have my tooth, right? But that cavity took years. So where was the healthcare preventatively? Or were we just supposed to wait till I'm 45 and I got shooting pain down my arm and then my hand's going numb and then, oh yeah, I have a neck problem now? Nobody wanted to tell me anything when I was in my 30s that my head was forward and I had a hump in my upper back and that was going to cause this problem at 45? How could I have fixed it at 35? Well, start stretching.
Oh, please.
But see, you see, this is
Mine's nowhere near that.
But you see, this is not doing anything.
Mine's nowhere,
We see on my back of my
close to
head.
the ground.
Oh my
So
goodness.
this is not actually doing anything.
That's how bad it is.
But this, I put this on you. Your neck is so stiff that there was still a pretty good gap.
There was.
I know. I'm not trying to. We have work to do. Your neck's not bending. Your neck doesn't want to be curved, right? Your neck wants to be straight, and so I'm putting a straight object onto a device, and it's not.
I just said I went to a chiropractor and he did a 3-view x-ray on my neck and he said it's
straight. It's okay.
Our neck is straight.
That's
And
what.
it'll go like this.
This is how we fix it. This is the steps of how we're going to get the curve back. If your neck was curved, the weight's going to be evenly distributed. You wouldn't have a hump in your back. You understand? Of course it's straight. This went straight and then it went into a, right? So we got to do two things, right? We got to push this in like I showed you with the thoracic guy, and then we got to start working on getting the neck curve back. And then based on how stiff your spine is, we'll determine if it's even going to work, right? If your neck's real stiff, it's not doing anything. Does that make sense? That's why I was trying to say, put your hand on your forehead and push the head into the mold and see if it'll stay there. It's tough. This is why I develop relationships with people. Push your head forward and then try to turn your neck.
I can't.
No.
right? It's hard, right? So forward head posture and your range of motion are the same thing. So then try to bring your head back, and then it's easier. Well, it's easier to turn your head. I'm just saying it. Your range of motion is connected with the position. Even breathing. Another easy one is, put your head forward and try to bring your arms up. But try to bring your arms up, right?
Doing it?
You think you can't, right? Now bring your head back. Bring your head back. Now bring your arms up. Right? So the position of your head to shoulders affects your shoulders range of motion. I can't even lift my arm up more than... That's it. I can't lift my arms up when your head's forward.
Huh.
The ability to breathe in, it's very, your ability to inflate your lungs.
It's affected.
I can't breathe. How many people have breathing issues in America? Maybe because your head's forward.